Bonjour, bienvenue à mes présentations. Je suis Eric. The song I chose was Une histoire de plage by Brigitte Bardot. This song I heard on a movie relatively recently, and it reminded me quite a bit of some of the other songs I've heard that are in French. This song, a lot like most other French musicians, Brigitte Bardot has a very soft-spoken, subtle voice about her. A lot of the song, it's a little bit more, doesn't sound upbeat, but it's meant to be upbeat. She's reminiscing of times in the beach, moments and memories, during that time. But I've noticed with a lot of French musicians, they don't often sing in higher tones. Usually, most of their songs are very steady, very mellow tones in their voices, as opposed to some other singers. They tend to hit the higher pitches. But I think that's unique to the French culture, where it's very mellow and kind of a laid-back style of singing. I really enjoy this song because I like the way that she sings it. The words, they're just very catchy, and it's very melodic, and it's pretty soothing. I think it was a great song to listen to. The film I chose to review was Amélie. Originally, I first saw this film at Blockbuster, when Blockbuster used to exist, and I rented it. I didn't know at the time that it was actually a French film that was entirely in French, so it was a little bit of a surprise to me having to read through the subtitles, but it was a nice surprise once I actually got to watching the movie. Directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet, this was a very interesting movie. It takes place in Paris, and I believe it was shot in over 80 different Parisian locations, so it was a very well-known movie in France at the time. And this movie is about Amélie, who is kind of a quirky girl, and she goes through this moment in her life where she realizes that she wants to try and help people. And it's intended to be a comedy, and it is in many rights. But like any movie, she looks for love, and she tries to find ways to make, the most out of whatever situation she's in a very positive light. It's very different watching this movie, given that the cinematography is very different than what you would normally see in American movies. She's a little bit more on the shy side as opposed to most American movies, especially with American women. They tend to be more on the outgoing side, I think. But overall, I really enjoyed this movie, and it's one that won many awards in Europe and was nominated for many more, including Best Cinematography and I believe Best Director as well. And these were some of the quotes that I pulled from the movie that I personally enjoyed. The first one I will read is Je n'ai pas dans les vieux film américain quand les conducteurs ne regardent pas la route. I enjoyed the playful humor in that first quote just because the expression almost seems like how Americans and just their perception of what we are. And I just thought it was funny kind of looking from the outside in. And if you look at some of the other quotes, there's some of the other ones that I found some joy in. Some of the pronunciations were a bit above my level, but overall I think that they were fun to watch and to hear during this movie, and there were some that I picked out because I enjoyed the translation to them and the humor behind it, given that their expressions are vastly different than ours. Here's just discussing my brief summary of my career interests and kind of what my future looks like as far as OSU. And to go on to the next slide is my activité écrite, edited and completed. And I hope that you all enjoyed my presentation. And I'm sorry that I had to redo this again. My first one was a little bit more in detail, but unfortunately the audio just didn't want to translate it to the video file. So this is the repatched version. Thank you. À bientôt.